This is the main room today
The
on the
the
HR
main event.
stories. The main event. We've got our big story. We zhuzh it up every once in a while, folks. I think you know that if you've been listening. Sometimes we do a Q&A episode. Sometimes we will do a hot topics episode, tell some stories. And today is our main event story. John, it's great to see you again, and it's great to be here on the HR Stories podcast.
Always, yeah, I love it. It's good to see you down there with your Florida tan going on. It's always good. Oh man, I have to say, Chuck. The other day you posted a photo of right outside the dock, right outside of your condo down in Florida land, and it was
Yes.
beautiful. It
Oh
was
my gosh.
gorgeous.
Yeah, I think I have to post that again. That was like really
Oh
something. It
yeah,
was pre-dawn. Pre-dawn. I like getting up. I like going out on the pier, and I like seeing the sunrise over the Atlantic Ocean. And that was pre-dawn. That was before
yeah.
the sun came up, and just as the light is starting to crack. So yeah, no, it's exciting. And speaking of Florida, we don't talk about this enough, and we really should. HR Florida SHRM
Oh
conference
yeah.
concluded a few weeks ago, and our book, The Ultimate Guide to HR Checklist Edition, was for sale at the HR Florida SHRM, and we found out recently they sold out.
Woohoo!
So,
Yeah.
we sold out at San Diego National SHRM. We sold out in HR Florida SHRM, and now we're waiting to hear about the Wisconsin SHRM. So, folks, if you don't know what we're talking about, or if you've been listening for a while, you want to go to Amazon.com, type in Ultimate Guide to HR Checklist Edition, over 80 checklists of anything and everything you could think about in HR. It is wildly popular. Everyone that's bought it has loved it. And it is for sale on Amazon, and it is SHRM approved, Society of HR Management approved for 3 recertification credits just by buying this book. So very exciting.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
yeah,
Really exciting.
so the $6 million Sunday, John, and you're not talking about like Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. You're talking about ice cream Sunday. That's our story today. The $6 million ice cream Sunday.
Yeah, Sunday. So we're going
Okay.
to talk about, right? We're going to talk about this duo who bought a Dairy Queen franchise up there in New York and how things went wrong when they thought they were doing it right.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, let's pivot. Let's start. We talk about all our projects. We finish one project. We're always already on the calendar to do another project. So I'm eager to talk about a story.
Yeah. Yeah, and I'm still catching up from that time management webinar we did last week. It's kind of ironic, right? I mean, I'm just trying to catch up.
Yep. Every time we teach time management, we have to learn to apply it to ourselves in our regular days.
It's always a good reminder. It's always a good reminder to get there. So, I mean, again, right, that's HR life, right? Between policy updates, employee questions, and these constant changes in employment law, it feels like the rules shift daily.
Yeah, and exactly. So today's story is going to be a perfect example of that. Two small business owners who thought they were doing everything right, only to learn that one small timing issue landed them in a $6 million mess of melted, puddly ice cream.
That's right. It's a story about payroll timing and how good intentions can melt under bad legislation.
And ice cream, John. Let's not forget the ice cream.
All right, no, always the ice cream, and let's dig into the $6 million Sunday. All right, so meet Patty DeMint and Michelle Roby. They're two sisters from Long Island who dreamed of running a business together. In 2015, they made it happen. They opened a Dairy Queen in Medford, New York. They poured their hearts into it, and their savings into that restaurant. Patty ran the counter, Michelle handled scheduling, payroll, and all behind the scenes HR work.
Right. So they're two entrepreneurs, small business owners. Like most small business owners, they're wearing about 8 or 9 hats at once.
Exactly. And they cared about their people. They didn't just hire teenagers for summer jobs, they believed in second chances. They gave opportunities to folks who had rough patches, people other employers might have passed over. Patty once said, if somebody's willing to work hard and treat customers right, they deserve a shot. They had about 30 employees, high school kids, single parents, even a few people rebuilding their lives. They paid everyone, every 2 weeks through a payroll service. No one ever complained. Then one afternoon in 2019, a letter arrived from a law firm. It said a former employer, a shift leader who left months earlier, was suing them for wage violations. At first, Patty thought, this is a mistake. She literally said, we always pay on time, even pay early when someone needs an advance. But the claim wasn't about late pay, it was about frequency of pay.
Oh, okay. Well, now that's intriguing. So they weren't being accused of skipping paychecks or shorting people. They were just paying, I guess, too slowly according to the law.
Yeah, right. So New York labor law statute 191 says that manual workers, people who spend more than 25% of the time doing physical labor, must be paid weekly.
Oh, no. No, 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 no. Manual worker. Isn't, I guess that would be the same as a non-exempt employee, and they didn't know that?
Well, not exactly. That's where a lot of folks get tripped up. Under federal and most state laws, non-exempt just means an employee is eligible for overtime, usually based on how they're paid and what kind of work they do. But in New York, manual worker is different.
I'd never heard that before. That's crazy.
It's not about overtime or salary level. It's about the kind of work someone performs. And if more than a quarter of their time involves physical labor, even light tasks, the law says there are manual workers who must be paid weekly.
Okay. All right. So, wow. Okay. I wonder where they draw that threshold, but I guess some of the stock shelves, make sandwiches, scoops ice cream, all technically are manual workers.
Yeah, so these ice cream servers were manual workers. Even if they're hourly already getting overtime, they can be covered by the statute 191's pay frequency rule. It is a second layer of compliance that most payroll systems don't automatically flag.
Oh, okay. Yeah, that's why it's so confusing. New York, California, for goodness sakes. And you might think, hey, we pay correctly, we pay overtime, we're good. But then the state says, no, not so fast. Are you paying weekly?
Right, it's a classic case of the law being well-intentioned, but really decades out of sync with how small businesses actually operated today. The one lawsuit turned into a class action representing every employee who worked there over 6 years. Soon, local news picked it up. The Dairy Queen owners accused of pay violations, the headlines read. People they served ice cream to for years started asking questions. The kids' teachers heard about it. They were mortified.
Ah, that's brutal. I mean, the media can be like out of control, and I can picture the HR nightmare, scrambling to pull payroll reports, time cards, bank records, just to prove you didn't do anything wrong.
And here's how it snowballed under the law. Every missed weekly paycheck counts as a separate violation. And with dozen of employees over the years, those added up fast, add liquidated damages, interest, attorney fees, and the number just explodes.
So basically, the lawyers saw soft serve and smelled money.
That's really one way to put it. In 2020 alone, more than 100 of these class action lawsuits were filed in New York, mostly against restaurants, retailers, and franchise owners.
Yeah, and all of them probably said the same thing the sisters did. We didn't know. I mean, you didn't know, and yeah, they probably were all in that same boat.
Yeah, and that's why we built those payroll and wage hour compliance checklists in the ultimate guide to HR checklist. It walks you through step by step through things like pay schedules, overtime classification, required documentation, all the small details that trip up well-intentional employers.
Yeah, and that's one of my favorite parts of the book because it's real world. It helps you catch those hidden compliance issues before they turn into something ugly like a lawsuit over how you pay people.
How often you pay people.
How
Yeah,
often? Yes.
yeah, systems and checklists don't just keep you organized, they keep you safe.
Exactly. Exactly.
So anyway, Patty and Michelle ended up settling for $450,000. Roughly $305,000 went to legal fees. Most of the former employers got checks for less than $200.
Okay, so the lawyers got the blizzard with extra fudge, and everyone else got a spoonful. Although I'd say the fudge was thrown back at these ladies for having to
Yeah,
pay this money.
yeah. Pretty much, but the sisters lost sleep, money, and community trust. One of them told a reporter, "We thought we were following the rules. We would have paid weekly if anyone had just told us."
Mm. Yeah, that hits hard. You know, a lot of small businesses are just trying to keep up and not cut corners.
Yeah, so good news, right? Fast forward to 2025. After years of outcry from business owners, trade association, New York lawmakers finally stepped in. Governor Kathy Hochul signed a reform bill as part of the state budget, limiting damages for pay frequency violations.
Yeah, finally a little common sense even in New York.
Yeah. Under the new law, if you pay employees biweekly or semi-monthly and you're paying accurately and consistently, you're no longer automatically on the hook for double damages. Employees can still recover lost interest, but those multi-million dollar class actions gone.
Yeah, and I'm guessing Patty Michelle read that headline and thought, great, just a few years too late.
The case was already settled, but their story helped push lawmakers to fix a system that was punishing good employers for technicalities.
Yeah. So, John, like we always do here on the HR Stories podcast, time for the good stuff. The lesson is always in the story. Give me two things that we
All right,
learned
two
from
things.
this.
Number one, know your state laws. And this is something that I teach about in my workshops because it's one of the things. How often do you need to be paying your employees? Right? You need to know that. It's different for every state, right? And so some say, oh, every twice a month is okay. Some say every 2 weeks. Some say once a month is fine. And I always tell people in my class, look, if you're paying once a week, you're probably okay, but you have to check your state laws. And one of the things we did in our book, The Ultimate Guide to HR, is we have all the state websites to go look at, right? So you can go look at them and then look up and go, okay, what do I do here? Number two, audit your classifications, right? In New York and several other states, a person can be both non-exempt and a manual worker. Make sure your job descriptions reflect actual duties. If more than 25% of their day is physical labor, weekly may apply, even if they're already earning overtime.
All right. Well, let me tell you something I learned from this, something I can share because it is important. I have run payroll and I deal with payroll. Is number three, check your payroll settings. You know, most software defaults to biweekly or semi-monthly, or you have the opportunity to choose. And a lot of companies choose the biweekly just because it's less it's less stressful and you have to do it every 2 weeks. But if your state requires weekly for some roles, you need to update those settings now. And it's one of those things, set it and forget it, then problems can arise and it could cost you big.
Yeah, and I think the add to that is you have to pay attention because payroll law changes.
Pay attention.
Yeah. So number four, document your good faith. Keep written records of any compliance checks, consultant reviews, or Department of Labor inquiries. If something ever goes wrong, that document shows your intent to follow the law. I think that's good lesson for everyone in HR, payroll, small business owners. Documentation, documentation, documentation.
And of course, communication, communication, communication. Number five, I'm going to go with the fifth one here. transparency can go a long way. Communicate, let your employees know when and how they'll be paid and why. It builds trust, helps prevent confusion. A lot of times you write actually on those all-in-one labor posters, there's a spot there where you
Right.
say when
Oh,
employees will be paid. And
yeah.
you don't want any assumptions that they think something shady is happening.
Yeah, I think that's good. And that's what makes Patty's and Michelle's story so tough, right? They were trying to do the right thing. They were making sure they were paying. There were times where they were using their personal money to pay the people. And so that's tough, right? They were trying to give people second chances, creating jobs. They still ended up in the crosshairs.
Yeah, so good intentions don't replace good systems.
Compliance isn't about fear, it's about freedom. When you have the right systems in place, you've got to focus on leading and not worrying. If you enjoyed today's story, follow HR Stories podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. Share it with another HR pro or small business owner who could use a reminder to double check their pay schedule.
Because sometimes it's not the big things, it's the small boxes that are left unchecked. Yep.
Exactly. Until next time.
Yeah, well, there's a lesson in every story here on the HR Stories podcast.